Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mr. BuildWealth. I am back at it once again, and I'm here to share information and resources that can help you get started with building wealth. Before I begin, as always, I'm going to punch in my website so that way you all will know where to find me, what I'm up to, and if you need some help, holler at me. Fill out the contact us section at the bottom of the website, and I'll follow up with you, and we'll get cracking. We'll get cracking for real, for real. So, the topic for this session is shit is expensive. So yesterday I was having a conversation with a colleague. She's been in real estate for about 30, probably 40 years at this point. And what she shared with me, I think, is probably the reality in a lot of areas across the country. So she's a native of San Francisco, and she has a lot of, I'll say, older clients who are looking to sell their properties for various reasons. And a lot of her clients just so happen to be, successful black people, or just black people who are from the area who've held on to properties for years. But now they're like, you know what? I'm ready to let go of that property, but I wanted to sell it to somebody's black. And she can't find black buyers. And I realize that San Francisco is, I think, still the most expensive city to stay in this country. And New York may be a close second. But for what it's worth, she was like, I can't find enough black people who can afford to buy these properties that she's coming across. And she wants to sell them to black people. But unfortunately, because there aren't enough black people with enough money or enough wealth, then she has to do her job and sell it. And she said it really bugs her that more times than not, it's usually somebody who's not black. Primarily, she said there are a lot of Asian people in San Francisco who want to buy these properties. And these are like really good properties in great neighborhoods or historic neighborhoods in San Francisco. She has a wide variety of clients, but the shit is so expensive that people don't even want to live in San Francisco. And a lot of people have been fleeing the city as of late. I mean, simply one, because of the pandemic, but two, your money goes a lot further the further inland you go. So I know some people will go across the bridge and maybe buying in Oakland, or they go even further inland just because, again, if you're going to pay a couple $1,000,000, then you can do a lot more damage inland, and let alone if you go out of state. So I told her I have a lot of friends who have left California in general. So a lot of people had just fled the entire state because if you're looking at a property that is maybe a couple of bedrooms, couple of bathrooms, not a lot of space, and you're talking millions of dollars. Just imagine what that millions of dollars could do if you lived, I don't know, Texas, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, anywhere else aside from California. Like, it's just so damn expensive, and people haven't done the proper things by way of planning, so they can't even afford to stay in San Francisco. And she was making a case around how incredible of a city San Francisco is, but it's just too expensive for people to stay in San Francisco. So people are jetting out, Hell, I've even thought about it since I've been in the Bay Area, where people have asked me, like, when you coming back to North Carolina? Because the property values aren't going to go down. And just know there is a segment of people in this country who have a lot of money and they can buy whatever properties they want. But when you don't have any real financial game plan, and you don't have any savings, and you don't have any, I'll say, wealth, these properties are just going to get missing, and everybody else is going to own. Or think about the people who, my colleague was telling me, she was like, these people have done well financially, but they don't even want to give it to their kids because their kids don't even want the property. So it's wild that some of these people's kids can't take over the crib. And we're talking houses with no mortgages. They just can't pay for the upkeep. That's how expensive shit is in the Bay Area, but specifically San Francisco. And so it begs the question of how hard will you go to make a dollar, to really create some wealth, and not just getting by. Like, I hear stories like the story yesterday, and it makes me think of how much real estate was lost to, I'm just going to say, black people, because somebody died and now the person who's going to get the house can't maintain it because it's too expensive. So what do? They sell it. So I can only imagine the data and statistics around how many black people used to own a house in San Francisco who had to sell for the money, and now somebody else owns it. and the properties could be worth millions. And I was even talking to her about her family, and she was telling me her parents had bought a house way back in the day for about $16,000. That's how much their house cost way back when. Needless to say, this house has appreciated handsomely. But if you can't even get into the game, how are you ever going to get ahead? And so what we find is people dream and fantasize about living these lifestyles and living in certain cities, but for many of us, we will just never be able to afford to do so. And that's part of my job as a financial planner, is to help you to actualize, like realize and put these dreams into like real life. Like I want you to live out the lifestyle that you dream about, that you fantasize about. And that's where I pride myself on trying to do my part to fit into your plan. Whatever the plan is, it's fine with me. It's not my plan, but I want you to understand that some shit out here is very expensive, but only at a certain point, right? Because at some point, if you do have the money and the wealth, it's just the cost of doing business. It's not really expensive at that point. But many people, again, can't afford just to have a property in a certain segment or a certain place in this country. And it's just because we don't have the wealth. So I want to encourage everybody to do more, save more, invest more, because I don't want expensive to be the reason you can't do something. But we know for a lot of us, that's going to be the reality. So if Mr. Build Wealth can help you figure this game out, hit me up. Hit up the website, hit the contact us part, hit the links in my bio, schedule some time with me. Let's talk through your strategy, because it's only expensive right now because you haven't done the work. You haven't planned, you haven't saved, you haven't invested. Maybe your priorities are not in the proper order, but that's why I'm good. I'm gonna help you. That's my job, to help you figure out this game plan and to help you also to execute, because I'm gonna hold you accountable if you tell me you want to do something. So hit the link in my bio, schedule that 15-minute phone call. And before I hop off, I just want to remind people that I have a YouTube channel. I'm sharing my BuildWealth observations, which are essentially my diary entries about my experiences in this business that I've been in my entire career. So perhaps you can relate to one of the stories. Maybe one of the stories is talking about somebody you know personally. And if you think about the people when you're listening to these stories, tag them, share the information with them, and then connect them with me and let me help them, because they may not be listening to you, and you may be giving them very good advice, but maybe they just need to hear from somebody else. So as always, if I can be of service on your journey to financial rockstar status, I'm here for you. You know where to find me, and I'm not going to stop asking for your help, because I know I can't disrupt generational poverty by myself, and I'm going to need a few people to help me along the way. All right, everybody. I'll catch you next time.